You've been lied to. Everyone says buying a house is so expensive, but I bought houses for less than it costs to furnish a whole house. I buy houses for less than the cost of a used car. I buy houses for less than the cost of a vacation to Miami. I buy houses for less than a semester in college. I buy houses in less than the cost of your first month and your last month's rent. No banks, no huge down payment, and yes, for less than 10K. Sometimes even less than 5K. I want to show you exactly how I do it and how you can do it yourself. Most people actually do want to buy a house, but they feel that they can't. And they feel they can't because they feel that it's too expensive. So there was this myth going around that to buy a house, you need a 20% down payment. And let's look at the math on that. If you're purchasing a house with 20% down payment, if your average sales price is 400K, give or take, 20% 400K is 80K, and that's just for your down payment. That's not including closing costs or anything like that. So that could get very expensive to purchase a house. You guys gotta know that's a myth though. You don't need 20% down. And also too, when it comes to buying a home, people feel that the banks just make it too difficult, to be honest with you. They're asking for all this verification on your W-2s. They want a super high credit score. They want to dig deep into your tax returns. It can just be a lot at the end of the day. So that can prevent people from purchasing, and they think that they only have to go to traditional banks to be able to buy their house. So when it doesn't work out with a traditional bank, people think that, okay, their home ownership dreams are just shot, that they have to rent. But the issue with rent is rent just keeps on rising. It keeps on getting more and more expensive. And also the cost to even rent get more expensive too. You gotta pay security deposit, first month rent, application fees. There's just so many different things, so many different costs associated with renting. But people feel that ownership is impossible. Ownership is not impossible. It's very possible. And I'm going to tell you in this video exactly how you can do it without banks, without credit, without a huge down payment, without any of that. People will spend more money on security deposits, purchasing a car, weddings, first month's rent than it costs to actually buy a house. And you may ask, Chris, how can you purchase a house for less than all of these? Well, you do it through a method I call creative financing. What is creative financing? Y'all, I've made multiple videos on exactly what creative financing is, how you can do creative financing today, the positive, the benefits, and all the truths about creative financing. So if you haven't watched those videos, pause this video, go back to those previous videos. All you gotta do is just click the channel and you'll find those videos there. But if you watch those videos, you still wanna know more about creative financing, I'm gonna break it down just very briefly. Creative financing is just going outside the traditional methods of bank loans and things like that. There's so many broad terms under creative financing, but I just want to focus on the main two, which is subject to and owner financing. Owner financing is when you purchase a property from a home seller who does not have a mortgage on the property, and you set the terms, meaning the rate, the purchase price, the payment length, all that. You can set that with the owner. That's owner financing. And subject to is when a seller still has a mortgage on the property and quote unquote you assume their terms. Basically, you take on all the exact terms of their loan. So their interest rate, how much life they have left on the loan, the principal on the loan, all these things, you take that on from the seller, and the mortgage still will stay in the seller's name, but you receive the deed. And when you receive the deed, you receive the ownership and control for the home. Y'all, subject to is actually one of my favorite methods to do real estate investing. Purchase multiple homes via subject to, and drum roll, this home I actually purchased via creative financing and subject to, and this is a beautiful newer construction home. It's not one of those trash messed up homes. So you can purchase any home via creative financing for limited costs versus traditional loans or other options. So now you know what creative financing is. Let's talk about how you can purchase these homes for cheap. And when I say cheap, you can purchase a home for less than 10K out of your pocket, and in many cases less than 5K out of your pocket. So when you purchase a home, it's called your entry fee, the cost that you spend to actually purchase the home. So if you're doing subject to, for example, and all you do is just pay the seller's closing costs, typically that's around 1.5% of sales price. I'll say $3,500 would be a good estimate. But depending on where you purchase it from, you can purchase it from a wholesaler, you can purchase it from an agent, you can purchase it direct to seller. You may have additional fees just based on that. If you want more information on that, check the other videos out. We go into more deeper detail. But I really wanted to emphasize that you can purchase a home for less than 10K. You can purchase a home for less than 5K under creative financing. And remember, this is no banks, no credit check. It's not gonna go on your credit report. It's not gonna go on your debt to income ratio. None of that. This is the easiest way to buy properties. Just stack them up and just have wealth in real estate, whether you're purchasing it to live in it or whether you want to invest in real estate and make these your investment properties. As I just discussed, you can buy a house with creative financing for less than 10K, less than 5K. Let's compare that to everyday things that you are paying for right now. Think about your first month's, your last month's rent, and your security deposit. Remember, these numbers, I'm just going to give conservative numbers, to be honest with you. They could definitely be a lot more with inflation and things like that, but let's just say conservatively. So going back to the rent, we're at 5 to 8K just off of that. And this is just for a short period of time. This isn't throughout the whole time. Creative financing, you purchase that property, even if you purchase it subject to from a seller, you're going to own that property for 30 years and it costs you less than just a couple of months of rent. Another one would be purchasing a used car. Yeah, we all need transportation, but a used car, we're looking at least 10K to 15K if you're being conservative. And that's a depreciating asset, meaning that car is not gaining any value versus your home. It's just constantly gaining value each day and it's helping you, making you wealthier. A used car on a conservative note, 10K at least to 15K, and that's small numbers. A college semester, depending on where you go, of course, but we're looking, I'll say at least 8K to upwards of 20K and even more. And the wedding, we all love a wedding, but weddings can get quite expensive. We're looking at 15K to 30K and a lot of times even more. Think about those everyday things. Those are either one-time expenses that just make you happy for the moment, don't really do anything else, or they're depreciating assets, meaning they're going down in value. They're not making you any money. They're not an investment. They're just for fun or for whatever you choose. When you purchase a home via creative financing, instead of a liability, you're buying so many things. You're buying an appreciating cash flowing asset. You're buying in the future equity that you can use to gain wealth. You're buying the appreciation for the home because home prices, they're just going to keep on appreciating, which means more money in your pocket, tying into your equity. You're also purchasing tax benefits. There's huge tax benefits for being a homeowner in real estate. And you're also gaining leverage. Leverage is the name of the game. When you purchase a home, you're getting leverage for further opportunities that can help make you wealthier or even get you out of the jam or something, like God forbid you use your job. Well, guess what? Now you have that asset of your home that's going to be able to help weather you through that storm. One thing I've never liked was just when people say theory. Okay, all right. So PSA, so we did some research and it looks like a lot of people that are watching, you're not subscribed to the channel. So please do me a favor, because I'm giving you guys these free videos, free high-level information on real estate and real estate investing. Please, just for me. All you gotta do is click the subscribe button, just subscribe to the channel. Oh, also, just bonus, just share it with a friend who can find this helpful. Thank you. And they'll just say, hey, this is how I think things should be, this is how things possibly are, but they don't have any real life application or real life examples. So I want to talk about my real life application, my real life examples, because I have done creative financing multiple times and it's worked. It's been very successful for me. So I want to give you all a few examples. So this house that we're currently in right now is a home that I purchased creative financing. We're still getting things going with it. I'm actually doing a different strategy than what I do for my other homes. So we're still trying to work that out. But I do want to talk about a different home too. And this is a home that I love to talk about. If y'all have seen my video about it's cheaper to buy a house than go to Miami, I was referencing that house right there. So situation there, homeowner came to me, they just didn't like the house. They only bought it a few months before, they don't have equity in it. So if they go to sell on the regular market, they would have lost money. They would have been in the red, which is not a situation that we want anybody to be in. So I said, okay, Mrs. Homeowner, how about I buy your house myself? And I purchased it via creative financing. And because they just hated the house, they didn't want any payment for it or anything like that. All I had to do was just pay their closing costs for them to sell it. They were able to move on and do whatever else that they wanted to do in life. Now I have this property that only cost me about $3,500 to purchase. And then after I purchased it, what I did was I did a wrap and I found an end buyer. And that end buyer, they ended up giving me a $12K down payment and they're paying me $2,500 a month. So my mortgage, because I took it subject to with the original seller, is only $1,700, but my end buyer is paying me $2,500. So $2,500 minus $1,700, we're at $800, and that's my monthly cash flow for that property. And I get paid $800 a month for the next 30 years to own that property. And because it only cost me $3,500 to purchase it, and I got a $12K down payment, I already made my money back literally instantly. So the numbers on that are insane. Like the cash on cash return is just crazy. And I was able to accomplish this because I purchased this via creative financing, versus if I would have purchased it maybe like a traditional loan and have to put that heavy down payment down and all of that and have to get it rent ready and pay the cost for repairs. my cash on cash return would not be that good. So creative financing just gives you so much flexibility. I have so many other stories of homes that I've been able to purchase with the exact same method and get great returns, and they become great investments for me. We've talked about my real life application for creative financing, but let's talk about some of the more common questions or some of the more common objections that I get when it comes to creative financing. One of the first questions or concerns that I get is people say, well, I don't want to become a landlord. I just want to purchase a property for myself. Okay, perfect. Creative financing, you can still do that. You don't just have to invest when you purchase a home via creative financing. Yes, you can invest with creative financing. You can flip a home. You can keep a home as a buy and hold. You can do a wrap strategy. There's so many things you do as an investor with creative financing. But for your personal residence, the home that you actually live in, you can purchase that via creative financing too. And it's super beneficial doing it that way because you will also have a less of an entry fee typically versus when you purchase a home traditionally. And also that home, your personal home, it won't go on your credit when you purchase it via creative financing. So you can still buy another home and your debt to income ratio is cleared when a traditional lender goes to check your credit if you try to use a traditional lender. A second question I get asked all the time is, what if I can't find these deals? Hey, guess what? These deals are all around you. You just got to make them work, I'll say. A lot of times, I don't think there's like a database, I will say, for creative financing deals, but any deal can be a creative financing deal. So if you're looking for deals in the MLS, they're there. If you're looking for Zillow, things like that, they're there. What I would suggest is looking for homes that are on the traditional market that have been sitting for quite some while, or you're dealing with a very motivated seller. Typically, these are the ones that will work well as far as creative financing. Also look for homes with low equity, homes that just simply won't sell for whatever reason. These are all great candidates for creative financing, or partner with a top real estate expert in your area because they have access to all the homes and they'll be able to help you out. And another question that people always ask me is, but I have bad credit. I just can't own a home. I gotta just wait till my credit goes up. Guess what? Creative financing doesn't care anything about your credit. You can have like a 0 credit score if that's even possible. It might be possible, but let's say you have the worst credit score possible. You could still purchase a home via creative financing because with creative financing, they're not checking your credit. They're not checking your bank statements. They're not checking your debt to income ratio, student loans. None of that matters under creative financing. Now, you know what creative financing is. You know why you should do it. And I've even given you a real example on me doing it myself. Let's talk about how you can do it yourself today. First things first, you really need to understand creative financing. So this video is not the video for that. But guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you a gift on exactly how you can know everything on creative financing. All you gotta do is click the link below in the description. I'm gonna lead you to a playlist that I have discussing all these videos I made on creative financing, breaking it down, definitions, truths, and all things like that. So watch those videos. Don't be lazy. We're in real estate to make money. Lazy people are not making the most money. The number 2 thing that you wanna do is you want to start building a small list of sellers. We want to start small. Eventually we can get big, but we want to start out small. You're just looking for motivated sellers, people who do want to sell their property. Possibly look for people with low equity, things like that. Look for homes that have been sitting for a market, but you really want to build your list of sellers. And I will tell you just a little tip. The more that you do know about creative financing, the easier you can explain it, the more contracts that you can get with these sellers, because a lot of times these sellers, they just simply don't understand creative financing and they need someone to come in and be able to explain it to them in simple terms. I found my creative financing deals from a variety of places. Honestly, a lot of them have just been given to me in a sense, like people just reach out to me because they know that I'm purchasing properties. And then once I find out I have a motivated seller, then I'll push them to the creative financing route, as long as it makes sense, of course. But a lot of my creative financing deals have came just off of connections, whether it's direct to seller, whether I purchased from wholesalers, or whether agents have reached out to me. I brought all these variety of ways. There's also another type of ways, like you can buy from Facebook Marketplace, you can buy from Craigslist, social media, all these aspects. There's so many different ways to buy a house via creative financing, and it's something you can literally do right now today. Guarantee if you guys check your local Facebook Marketplace, you're looking for a creative financing group or maybe an assumable loan group, go into that group and you will find a deal in your city that is actively being marketed right now. A lot of times those are from wholesalers, so it may be a bit more expensive to purchase those deals. But if you want them cheaper, let's say 5K or less, you want to go direct to seller using the methods I just told you. So step 1 is you've learned creative financing, you know how to do it. Step 2 is you found the sellers. All right, now you found the seller, you found the property in which you want to move forward with creative financing. What is the next step? The third step is you want to start analyzing the deal. See, does it actually make sense? Just because you have a lead for creative financing does not mean that you should purchase the property. The deal has to make sense, and it has to make sense based on your investment strategy. What are you doing here? Are you doing a buy and hold? Are you doing a fix and flip? Are you doing a different exit strategy? Or is it your personal residence? Analyze the deal and see, does it actually make sense for you? So when you ran the numbers, the deal makes sense based on your strategy. All right, the very next step and the final step to getting these deals under contract is you're going to present the terms to the seller. You're going to get that contract signed. Now, it's important when you present these terms, present them confidently. Even if it's your very first deal doing creative financing, still present it confidently like this is your 100th deal. I've been blessed that I've never had a seller ask me for a proof of funds, ask me for an EMD, ask me for any of that, just because I'm so confident in the terms that I present to them. I also suggest going line by line with them in the contract, being able to carefully explain to them what creative financing is and how it benefits them. A hack that's been able to help me 100%, because let's be honest, y'all, most sellers, they don't know what creative financing is. More than likely, you who's watching this, before you watch this video, you didn't even know what creative financing is. So what I would suggest is you send them one of my videos on what creative financing is and just breaking it down and explaining it to them, just to kind of warm them up before you go to their appointment. Because if they watch that before your appointment, by the time of your appointment, they at least have some understanding on it. You guys have some middle ground. They're not thinking you're this random crazy person that's presenting them with this illegal thing, because that is unfortunately what a lot of sellers do think when they just don't understand it. So present the terms, get the contract signed, boom, you'll own your first home, or you'll own a home via creative financing. Let's think about it, y'all. If you buy a house using creative financing and it costs you 10K, what would you rather spend your 10K on? You can use 10K to rent forever, which is something that's not making you anything, has no future, or you can spend that 10K to own a home, which is an appreciating asset and that you can use to leverage for further opportunities. With 10K, you can buy furniture, or you can buy a house that pays for your furniture. You can spend it once or build something that keeps paying you forever. Now, you're gonna do what you wanna do at the end of the day, but I would suggest you make the choice that benefits your future you and your future family, not your current you, but your future you. 70-year-old person, 80-year-old person looking back on you now, thinking, all right, did that choice benefit them? So throughout this video, we discussed how you can buy a house for cheap, how you don't need the bank, how you don't need your credit, how you don't even need a job, how none of that matters, how you can buy houses for cheap. Now that you know how to do it, the responsibility is on you to actually do it. So I want you all to purchase as many homes as possible, especially using creative finance. And the very first step to get a home under contract for creative financing is you do need the contract, or at least you need the first part of the contract. And to get that, all you have to do is click the description below and you get my free one-page contract for your real estate investment deals. And remember, you can use this for any creative finance deal. You can use it for wholesale, fix and flip, anything like that. It's in the link below in the description, and it's free for you, my friends. It's free. And of course, if you want any more information on real estate investing, watch the next video. Bye.